You had gotten the car, and then how long after you had gotten the car did he let
So
you?
just like around a month or two.
Oh my God,
It was
so
very quick.
soon.
It was really
Yeah.
quick. When the time came that they laid me off, they told me the news. It was like around noon, lunchtime. So I just got up from the desk and from his office and I walked out and I went to my office, grabbed my stuff and grabbed as much as I could because I didn't want to come back or I didn't want them to mail me anything.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed whatever personal items that I had and I went to my husband's job. And so I started driving to his job and obviously it was like around maybe almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so he sees me and I roll down the window and then he sees me and I couldn't even get a word out. I just started crying like a baby. And I was like, oh, and then he's like, he just thought of the kids. He's like, are the kids okay? And I said, yes. So
Oh.
what's the matter? What are you doing here?
Mm.
And I just couldn't even get a word out until I said, they laid me off. And he's like, oh my God, I thought it was something worse.
Welcome to the Audacious Founder Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Manning. This show is for the person who knows they're built for more. Welcome to your next level. Welcome to the Audacious Founder Podcast. My name is Melissa Manning. I am your host, an audacious founder, and your financial expert. Today, I have my friend Karen here. She is the founder and the owner of Nails Envie, an eco-friendly mobile nail salon offering luxury, non-toxic nail care. After being laid off from a corporate job in Las Vegas, Karen transitioned to her passion for nails, creating a personalized, on-demand service. She focuses on providing high-quality luxury nail care in clients' homes, offices, and events using only clean, non-toxic products to ensure a safe and eco-conscious experience. And this is kind of crazy for me because I'm like, I've been using toxic products this whole time, and it's never been something that I actually even thought about. So, hi, Karen, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Melissa. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome anytime. And so my first question to you, since again, it's something that I've never really spent any time thinking about, and I get my nails done very often. Why is it important that we use non-toxic products on our nails?
So it's important because as consumers, we have to make sure that we select products with the right ingredients and free of harmful chemicals. So basically, utilizing non-toxic products in our nail care routine is important because a lot of products out there contain harmful chemicals like formaldehyde, toluene, and these type of ingredients may cause allergic reactions, respiratory issues, and even long-term health problems. Using non-toxic products helps to eliminate these, protecting both clients and the nail technicians from harmful exposures.
Gotcha. And I would imagine just from hearing you say all that, the nail technicians are probably the ones who really have health issues because of all of these chemicals.
Right. And in addition to that, it's also good for the environment. So non-toxic nail products are often made with eco-conscious ingredients and packaging, reducing the environmental pollution and chemical waste. This supports a more sustainable beauty industry.
Okay, great. Awesome. Another, maybe a second thought after that would be, what's the difference in maybe the quality of these products? Meaning, do they last as long, or are they just as good quality as the ones with all the chemicals in them?
Definitely you will get a good long-term manicures, pedicures, but it is a combination of a few things. So it's a combination of the products that you utilize, the experience of the nail technician, and every person is different. Sometimes what works on a person may not work on another person because sometimes our nails can be oily. And so those things can play a big role on how long your manicures and pedicures can last. But based on my experience, I've been doing nails on and off for over 20 years. And so I have the experience on knowing which products work best depending on the client. I always go ahead and choose products that are non-toxic, eco-friendly, vegan-friendly, and that are going to be good quality so that it can last the client a long term. But it also has to do with the preparation of the nails as well. So when we do a manicures, it usually can last between 45 minutes to an hour. That means the natural nail is getting prepped properly so that the products that are going to be applied onto the nail can stick and last longer.
Gotcha. Are nail polishes, nail products, they're tested on animals?
Some of them are, but the good news is that we're finding out that a lot of companies are removing toxic chemicals from the products, and also they're not being tested on animals. So that's actually make it vegan friendly as well.
Good. Awesome. Okay. Tell us more about you. And actually, guys, yesterday, Karen came over to my house because she's a mobile nail salon. She wanted me to test out her product, or her service rather. And so she came over to my house and she set everything up in my, like, on my sofa, right in front of my sofa, so I could be really cozy and comfortable sitting on my couch. And she had all of these, like, it was so efficient. I feel like the way you came with all of the materials. You had your copper bowl that you told me about, and she warmed up the water, in my sink, and then she let me soak my feet on my sofa, and it was so comfortable and cozy, and I nearly fell asleep. We were having a conversation, but I was like, oh, I'm falling asleep here. But it was so lovely, and it was so convenient that I didn't have to like get up and go anywhere. And so yesterday I learned a lot more about you, Karen, than I knew before, like a lot more about your background and like your history with what you were doing before Envie Nails. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about that? Tell them what you were doing before your business. What caused you to start your business?
Sure, sure. So I've always had my background in corporate accounting. I've worked as an accounts payable and accounts receivable manager for many, many years. My passion in the nail beauty industry started many years ago in my early 20s. I have always been into self-care. I have practiced it myself. And I became a nail technician many years ago, 24 years ago, actually, to be exact. I started working as a billing clerk at a limo company many years ago when I was in my early 20s. I have always been the person that I always go the extra mile when I provide any service, or if I work for anybody, I go the extra mile. I was working as a billing clerk for a limo company, and it was almost 6 or 7 months into the job, and I was just basically covering a lot of people's time off. I was the person that will jump in and learn any other tasks that were available. They were keeping an eye on that, but I wasn't aware of that. And I felt like I wasn't appreciated. So I decided that if I'm going to work so hard and go the extra mile, might as well do something that I love. So I started going to a beauty school in New York City, where I took on the nail program because I couldn't afford cosmetology back then. So I graduated as a nail technician and got my license and everything. And just when I was about to talk to my boss, the controller at the time, to give him my notice that I was going to leave, he actually asked me to sit with him. Basically, he said, we're going to give you a review, and we have been paying attention to everything that you have done here in the company, and basically we love your work. We're going to promote you to become an accounts receivable supervisor. Long story short, I ended up staying with that company for 9 years. I learned how to manage a staff of 8 at the time, and I was really young. I was maybe 21 years old.
Oh my God.
And so I learned a lot. They sent me to seminars, and I learned how to speak in front of people. I learned how to go to meetings, and the owner of the company used to introduce me to other clients, and she would introduce me as the accounts receivable supervisor. And so I was just basically young, and I was learning as much as I could. So like I said, I stayed with the company for 9 years. From there, I reached the cap as far as salary, and then I moved to an investment firm in Manhattan, where I stayed there for 8 years. With that being said, the nail job became a part-time job. So because I had already accepted that offer. So I did it on and off part-time. I used to work in Manhattan for spas. So then family happened, life happened. I got married, had 2 kids. So I just basically stopped working as a nail technician. And I worked for an investment firm for 8 years. And in 2014, my family and I decided to relocate to Las Vegas.
When did the restaurant happen? Because guys, Karen and her husband also owned a restaurant at some point in Queens.
In Queens. Yeah, so the restaurant, my husband did it. He was basically managing the business, and I did that on the side, weekends and evenings.
Yeah.
because I've always worked Monday through Friday, the
I
9
was
to
going
5.
to say you had 3 jobs plus being a mom, plus being a wife, 5 jobs.
Yeah, I've always been a multitasker. Always. I've always had multiple things going on. I don't
That's a
know.
lot. That's a
Kind
lot
of,
because, guys, a restaurant doesn't even count as just one. A restaurant, I swear to God, counts as like 3 jobs.
yes.
Or like it's not even a
Yes.
full time, even if it's part time, it's more like a full time. And when it's full time, it's like 3 jobs.
Basically, I take my hat off on anybody that has that have a restaurant and can keep it going because it's
Yeah.
definitely quite some work there.
It tests every bit of you. And you mentioned a couple minutes ago about self care, that you've always been into self care. So you're a mom of 2 kids, not just one, but 2. You have a husband. There's a restaurant. You're doing nails on the side. You've got a full time job. How the heck did you do self care? Or, did you really do self care? And if you did, then what exactly were you doing for yourself? And how did you carve out time for that self care?
Well, I've always tried to make a little bit of time to exercise, go
Okay.
to the gym at least 1 hour a day. And if I didn't get a chance to go to the gym, I will do it at the house. So we had a treadmill and we had like some gym equipment that we could
Okay.
definitely fit in at least 30 minutes per day. And basically keeping an eye on what we consume. So a healthy, balanced diet.
But you
Um,
say that like it's an easy thing to do. And with 2 kids, that's not easy. Like, how do you how do you commit to like a healthy, balanced diet when you're running around doing all of
Well,
these
I think
things?
that that's part of the key. Like you keep moving. So you're moving and then you're, like I said earlier, multitask and then just try to have a healthy diet. I mean, that I splurge sometimes with my cravings and I'm not going to say that I don't have sugar. I do.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure food item?
Wow. So my background is Venezuela and Colombia. And so those two are really hard because both cultures have very similar and excellent variety of food. So one of the dishes that my husband and I enjoy the most is bandeja paisa, which is a Colombian dish,
Mhm.
which is made with beans, rice, and it's got steak, eggs, sweet plantains, and avocado.
Okay.
And it's got also pork rinds. And so
Oh, I was gonna
it's
say
really like a
it
huge,
sounds kind of healthy. The beans, the avocado, the
yes,
plantain, plátano.
yes. So I enjoy it. I don't eat the whole thing every time I go, but I get to share it with my husband. That's his favorite.
That's interesting though, because this passion that you have for your business, right? For nails and the non-toxicity of it and clean and natural, you do that in every area of your life.
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
try to. Well, one of the things that my family have always said is from my dad's side, like all his siblings and everybody has always been like on the thin side. So
Okay.
in my family, they joke around that I have his genes because the only time that I saw myself gain weight was in my 2 pregnancies. Other
Oh,
than that, that's it.
that doesn't
I've,
even
I've, I've,
count.
I've managed to keep a balanced weight. Obviously, being pregnant, you have to carry the weight because of the baby, and then you
Of
get to eat
course.
for 2 and those things. But after that, after I had the babies, I just felt like the weight was bothering me. So I just kind of felt forced to get rid of it because it's not who I am. You know what I mean? And
That's
so,
interesting though. So it's like part of this consciousness about health and how you eat and what you put in your body and what you put on your body. It sounds like this is part of your identity because also your
right.
family is like this. This is how you grew up. This was not who you are.
Right, right. So it just
Interesting.
doesn't feel right when you gain a few extra pounds, like overboard, like 10 over. Yeah, like if I jog or if I try to do something fast, of course, I'm not as agile as I was in my 20s,
Mhm.
but I do feel it. If it's extra 5 pounds or 10 pounds, I do feel it in my
Yeah.
body. So it just doesn't feel right. And I'm like, okay, I need to focus on exercising more.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But you like exercising.
Yeah, I actually, even if I don't get to exercise, I'm constantly doing things around the house. Like I
Yeah.
always
You're
find
moving.
something to do. I feel like there's always something to do as a mom. And even if I don't get to do it, then I don't know. I think I have a fast metabolism
Okay.
also.
Well,
So, which
yeah.
is
And
a
I think
benefit.
kind of everything that you're saying leads to that, to you having a fast metabolism, right? Like, because I think when you're
Yes,
sedentary,
yes.
I think, that's when your metabolism slows down. Or if you eat poorly, that's when your metabolism slows down. So the fact that you are always moving. And I think all of these things are connected, right? Like that's why you're an entrepreneur, is because you're this driven person who you're like, okay, I can sit down for a second, but then there's other things that I should be doing. But it doesn't seem like, for a lot of us, for a lot of entrepreneurs, I feel like it can be an unhealthy thing where we don't allow ourselves to rest. And so then I guess that leads me back to my question where I was asking you, how did you carve out time for self-care and what did you do for it? And you mentioned exercise. So what else? What else do you remember doing for yourself?
Basically, a balance. I will just say a balanced diet, and incorporating a little bit of at least 30 minutes a day of exercise. Maybe taking a little bit of time to yourself to meditate,
Yeah.
just to breathe.
Did you get that though? 2 kids, a husband, restaurant, full-time job. Did you consciously do that for yourself? Or you just like went in the room and closed the door?
Sometimes, as a mom, and I've heard stories from other moms with little kids, sometimes being in the restroom while you're showering, you might add in a little extra time, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you can for
Yeah.
you, right? To recharge, to recover.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, as a mom, those things make a difference.
Yeah.
Just to kind of stay away from kids and family at least 5, 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
Those, you can recharge a little bit with that, doing those things. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, I just know that the only time I sit and rest is when I'm exhausted, it's when I'm
Yeah.
tired. Because if I have energy, I try to utilize that energy doing productive things,
Yeah.
either in work related or in my home or my self care. I try to make the time. When the kids were little, when the kids were sleeping, I would utilize the time to pluck my eyebrows. You know what I mean? Or do a skincare routine and,
Um,
spend 20 minutes
yeah.
before going to bed, making sure that everything was good for
Okay.
the next day. So,
Yeah. In my head, as you're saying those things, I'm like, I don't think that I do that. I'm like, I literally tell my daughter that I'm going to go take a nap, right? It's like, I don't think that I really took advantage of those moments. Like, I think if I had a moment where my daughter was sleeping, I think I'd be sleeping. Like,
yes. And definitely one of the things that I didn't mention is, when the kids were little, I had the help of my mom
um,
at some point, and then I had the help of my mother-in-law as well.
mm,
So sometimes they will watch the kids. So my husband and I can have a date night, for example,
oh, good.
right? There were times that we travel on a little weekend getaway, just the two of us.
Amazing.
So either it was either my mother or his mom, that my mother-in-law, that will watch the kids.
Yeah.
So we had that opportunity to try and make the
Prioritize.
time for us
Yeah.
and to recharge and then come back to family and then work. And because the New York lifestyle is very fast paced
Yep.
and it's very stressful.
Yep.
So if you don't know how to balance that and take time to recharge, then you can easily get overwhelmed.
Right. It doesn't encourage balancing. It doesn't encourage that rest time. But and you kind of touched on it. What I was thinking in the last couple seconds is that is exactly what you did, is you prioritized yourselves, not in a way that is like, because I feel like being a mom, I feel like there's been this taboo about prioritizing yourself because people say that it's selfish. And I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that, but I think what I see in the things that you've been saying is that you did prioritize yourselves. You prioritized your physical condition, right? Exercising every day, or at least a couple times a week, right? You prioritized the diet. It wasn't just you were shoving in whatever you could grab on the way out, packet of crackers or whatever. It was like you were really prioritizing yourselves, and it wasn't taking away anything from the kids. It adds to your ability to be a good parent and set an example and be healthy and last and have energy with your kids, right? But that's the thing. And like you and your husband going away on weekends sometimes. And I think that is so important. I think it's something that people really underestimate.
Right. And it doesn't make you a bad person if you put
No.
yourself first. Because in reality, that's how it should be. You should put
Absolutely.
yourself first.
Yeah.
Because when you take care of you first, then you feel like you want to take care of others. You want to share that.
Of course.
And you want to take care of others. So I always say, as moms and in this industry doing clients, I always prioritize, like I emphasize, are you taking time to not just necessarily do your nails, but you're taking time to have a me time, 10 minutes, 30 minutes of exercising, going and getting your hair done, your nails, whatever it is that makes you feel like you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important when you do that, then you want to pass it on to your friends or your family or your husband. And it makes you a better person to be able to be there to support your family.
100%.
I think that's important. So I've always tried to remind myself of that, because it's very easy to forget of yourself, and you serve everybody and you take care of everybody. And then the last person that sits and eats is yourself. And I've done that.
Yeah.
But then I always have to remind myself that we have to sit together.
Yeah.
And we have to do this together as a family. And yeah, just take time for yourself to make sure that you are getting the time that you need to recharge.
Yeah. Awesome.
So when my family and I relocated to Vegas in 2014, basically having the background of 9 years in a limo company, 8 years in an investment firm, I was able to find a job right away in Las Vegas. So I got hired as an accounts payable manager for a marketing and advertising agency almost right away. I stayed with that company for 3 years because they laid me off. So,
which is a great thing, because we know from her track record, she would have been there for at least 8 or 9.
Absolutely. Yeah, I stick around. It's not necessarily that I get comfortable. I'm one of 5. And my mom always taught us growing up, in everything that you do, if you're going to do it right. In everything. So it's always been my thing. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right, because it's like her voice is in the back of my head. If not, don't do it. I've always tried to put my best foot forward in everything that I do. And so that's the reason why I lasted 9 years, but I was able to grow within the company, 8 years in the other company. And that was only because of the relocation from New York to Las Vegas. In the company that I was working for in Las Vegas, I was managing a team of 2 people, actually. It was just 2 people and myself. And I was in charge of the accounts payable for like the headquarters in Vegas, and then 7 different offices in other states.
Wow.
And so basically, within that time period in accounting, you can kind of see the financial things that are not going right. They tell you to hold off on making a payroll, or a check run. So you just kind of know a little bit of what's going on in the company when they started closing offices in other states, laying people off from executives all the way down. I started thinking, what if this happens to me? I've always been with my husband. We've been together for many years. He's my high school sweetheart. In America, I mean, in raising a family, you need 2 incomes. So our kids were about 10 and 11 years old at the time. And so I knew that if I were to lose a job, my husband couldn't do it himself. And so what I did is I financed our Mercedes-Benz, and I was like planning for that plan B, just in case that were to happen to me.
Can I stop you for a second? Because what just popped into my head when you were saying like that you were looking at all the numbers for the 7 different offices, I think it was, and you started thinking like, okay, this could be me. What popped into my head was that's your intuition. Your intuition was like, okay, I'm seeing something here, and I need to be careful. I need to create some sort of an exit strategy or a plan B, as you said.
Right.
So I think that's so cool.
Well, when you have a family to support, you have to kind of start figuring, like planning. And not just because you have a family. I always think that you should have a plan B in case of anything, because anything can happen at any point.
But I also think it's so easy for people to just not do that. I think it's easy for people to maybe rationalize or be like, no, it's fine. I noticed this at those other locations, but it's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen. Or, okay, I'll just get another job, right? It's like, I don't think it's as common to be as maybe resourceful or as like humbled. Like the fact that, and because I know where this story is going, right? You rented this car, or you purchased this car.
I financed it. Yeah.
Financed it. You financed this car. So I know where this is going. And like, I feel like most people would be that would be beneath them to do what you're about to say that you did.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You don't have that ego in a way that is negative. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you have ego in a good way. You probably do, but I mean, we all do. But I mean, like, there would be so many people out there that would maybe start looking for another job, right? They wouldn't be like, let me just start to take control and do this stuff on my own. And again, even with that, there's like all this ego stuff that can come into play where like, no, I can't start from the bottom, or no, I can't be driving people around, or no, I can't be doing all these things that are beneath me, which actually will lead you to exactly the life that you want to have.
Right. Well, I've always had them in the positive mentality.
Yeah.
I've always tried to find the positive in everything and try to be a solution kind of mindset person instead of complaining and crying and
right.
blaming.
There was no victim mentality at all.
No. So I've always tried to have the mentality of, okay, why is this happening to me and what can I learn from it?
Yeah.
And what can I do to make this better? Because I always have to look forward. I can't just focus on blaming the past or blaming others.
Right.
So I've always tried to find a way to make things work in everything that I do. I guess that's how I was raised in a way, because I was given a lot of responsibility at a very early age. And in reality, I'm very thankful for that, because it taught me to, if something doesn't work, figure it out. Find another way. Back in the days, like, moms didn't have that time like moms nowadays do. Like, they sit down with their kids. Okay, let me see what I can do to help you. And my mom, back in the day, she didn't have the patience or the time. So she would be like, figure it out.
I don't have the patience or the time.
Yes, I always found the solutions to things. So if something doesn't go right, then move on to the next one. Don't waste time. Find a way to figure it out and do it. And with that upbringing, I was 12, 13 years old, managing a household of 7. So I have an older sister and then we have an older brother. But in the Latin culture, the women are the ones that are taught to handle family, cook, clean, take care of your little siblings and all of those things. And being in the United States, many years ago when my parents migrated from Venezuela, both of them had to go out and work to support 8 kids. So who was in charge of taking care of the house things, cooking, cleaning, and laundry for 7, all of those things? It was my sister and I.
Wow.
Going to middle school and high school, those were my extracurricular activities. Like, that was it. I had to go home and cook
and do the laundry.
And everything and serve. And so when my mother would come home from work, the house was clean, the food was ready, served, everything. And that's how she raised us.
Makes me want to have more kids.
So one week I was in charge of doing that, and then the other week my sister was in charge of doing that. So one week she will clean, and one week I cook, and then another week I cook, and then she will clean. I've always had that, like, you have to be doing things. You can't just be sitting down.
Yeah.
I never had that opportunity to sit down and relax, really. Like, I always had responsibility, a lot of responsibility.
Let me ask you a question, because I try to get my daughter to do stuff around the house and it just doesn't happen. So what would your punishment be if your mom came home and she just saw you sitting around?
Just with the thought of her getting angry with us or my dad getting angry with us, we will get it right. Because we didn't want to hear my mother's mouth.
My mouth isn't enough to make my daughter do stuff.
There is basically the respect. They only spoke to you once, and that's it.
It's not enough.
It was so much respect. And with my dad, like, I don't remember my dad ever, like, hitting us, maybe with a belt once or twice.
Okay.
Once or twice, really. Because we loved my dad so much, because he would always go out and travel and work. And whenever he came back, we didn't want to see him angry. We wanted to spend time with him, bond with him, and all those good things. And so, but at the same time, we knew that whenever he got mad, he will go crazy. So we didn't want to get to that point. So just with
crazy
a look,
isn't enough.
My dad will give us a look, just a look, and we will start crying. So yeah, just with the look.
I need to interview your dad, because I need to know what the secret is, because I give her a look, I raise my voice, none of this
Nothing works.
No. And so my ex, who is Venezuelan, his mom had something that I don't know who nicknamed it, but it was called Pedro Moreno. And it was like a stick or like a switch or something. And she would hit them on the back of the calves. And they remember that to this day, that like
Yes,
that, oh no, we can't make her mad because Pedro Moreno will come out. And
exactly.
I need something, because the look and the crazy isn't enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard nowadays. It's really hard because raising my two kids, I mean, they're both very different. So society, social media, the things that they have access to nowadays is very different from back in the days.
Yeah.
So like back in the days, we used to go out and play and they used to call us, hey, come on inside and eat those things, and we would
Right.
listen. It was safer. It's just very challenging nowadays to raise children.
Yeah.
And so everything has changed.
Yeah.
But in my case, like, I think that it helped me to be the person that I am today. I feel
100%.
like I need to get things done and be productive. And when I go to sleep at night, I'm like, what did I do today
Yeah.
that I feel like that I'm advancing in whatever it is that I needed to get done.
Yeah.
It's either in the home, what needs to get done. Like, okay, so you kind of plan your day the next day, and then you just tackle it in the morning. You have to get up early though to get as much done. I think that's what has helped me to be the person that I am, and also having a good husband next to me, because definitely the support of a good father and a good husband and a good friend, it makes a difference. You can get a lot more done when you're combined with a good partner.
Yeah.
Definitely, because then he does one part of what we need to get done, and then I have other tasks that I have to get done.
You bought the car.
I financed the car with the intention of plan B. What would I do if this were to happen to me, if I were to get laid off? And so I said, well, what can I do that I can have control of my time, right? And so I thought, driving Uber and Lyft, but not just driving Uber and Lyft. I thought of finance like a high-end car so that I can get those requests for the premium, I guess that's how they call it. And so I would make it the best of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. So during the process, while working as an accounts payable manager, the time came, which was I was going to be almost 3 years into the job. My boss called me in and basically he said, well, unfortunately, we have to let you go. And it just hit me so hard. I was like, okay, well, thank you. I don't even know what I said. I think I just got up and walked out.
How long, like, you had gotten the car, and then how long after you had gotten the car did he let you know that you were being?
Yeah, like around a month or two, just like around a month or two.
Oh my God.
It was very quick. It was really quick. When the time came that they laid me off, they told me the news. It was like around noon, lunchtime. So I just got up from the desk and from his office, and I walked out and I went to my office, grabbed my stuff and grabbed as much as I could because I didn't want to come back, or I didn't want them to mail me anything. Yeah. And so I grabbed whatever personal items that I had and I went to my husband's job. And so I started driving to his job, and obviously it was like around maybe almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so he sees me and I roll down the window, and then he sees me and I couldn't even get a word out. I just started crying like a baby. And I was like, oh, and then he just thought of the kids. He's like, are the kids okay? And I said, yes. So what's the matter? What are you doing here? Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't even get a word out until I said, they laid me off. And he's like, oh my God, I thought it was something worse. And then I said, what do you mean?
But why were you crying so much? Why was it so emotional? Because you kind of expected it to happen.
Yes, because it never happened before.
Oh, this was your, did it feel like a rejection?
You feel like you're going to last for a long time, or until you decide to go. Because remember, the limo company I left, the other company I left, I left because I relocated to Vegas. Yeah. Even though I kind of saw it coming, it just still hit me. It just still, I don't know. It was just like a fear of how am I going to get that income, that steady income.
Because also you have been, okay, hold on. I'm connecting things here. You have been somebody, just because of how you were brought up and because of the values that have instilled in you, you've been somebody that's always been very in control of the outcome.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
like you said, you've become very solution oriented, and you're somebody who, okay, there's a problem. Now we can figure out how to fix it. Right. There's never a problem that is so big that it can't be fixed. Right. And so
Right.
this was something that you couldn't fix. This was something
Well,
where,
I thought it was the fear of what's next. It was the fear of I could go and get another job if I wanted to.
mhm.
But then I started thinking, do I really want to keep working for others?
Yeah.
They're going to be in control of my time. They're
You
going
don't
to
have
be in
control.
control.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then being an Uber and Lyft driver, you can work as little or as much as you want, right?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this could be a fun thing to try. It will be at my own schedule.
Hey guys, here's what most people do when they want to build wealth. They download another freebie, they try to piece together random advice from TikTok and YouTube, and end up stuck, overwhelmed, inconsistent, and spinning their wheels. But that is not how you create true freedom. If you're ready for something smarter, deeper, and actually aligned with your life, book an Audacious Wealth Breakthrough Call with me. This is not cookie cutter coaching. This is where we look at your gifts, your vision, and your numbers. And we build a bold, personalized blueprint to help you turn your income into impact, your time into freedom, and your ideas into legacy. You've done the DIY hustle. Now it's time for strategy that fits like it was made for you, because it was. Spots are limited, so head to the show notes and claim yours now. When you were thinking those thoughts about driving Uber and Lyft, did you have in your mind that you were also going to start the nail business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or I was wondering, or was maybe the Uber and Lyft some sort of a distraction or a way to kind of, what I really want is to create this mobile nail salon, but that's really scary because if that doesn't work out, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. So let me do this thing over here to kind of delay and avoid.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So let me go back a little bit.
Okay.
So when I felt like this could happen to me before I got laid off, I was like, okay, what is the quickest thing that I can do?
Okay.
So I financed the car,
Yeah.
and because I used to be a nail technician in New York and I basically let go of that license, I just kind of forgot about it. And I thought, I'm moving to Vegas. I'm never going to need it. I didn't even think of it. So when I felt like I was going to get laid off, I thought of the Uber and Lyft. And then I always had the nail technician in the back of my mind because I've always been passionate about it. There was a time prior to me getting laid off, I went back to New York and I renewed my license.
Oh,
my nail technician license.
wow.
Because for me, the plan B was the Uber, Lyft, and the nail tech.
Okay. Okay.
So what happened was that I had to go back to New York twice. One to take the practical test and one to take the written test. I didn't know how long that process was going to take. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I ended up doing it. And so I got my license transferred to Vegas. Mm-hmm. And so when I got laid off, then I started doing the Uber and Lyft. And I also told my husband, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, I'm going to start my own business doing mobile nails. So he says, are you sure? And I said, yes. So my husband he's the back end of the business. He does the website, he's advertising, he's got a lot of knowledge on that side. And so I said to him, I want you to create a website for me. So let's think of the name. But the concept is going to be clean, non-toxic, eco-friendly, and all those good things. And I'm going to come to people's homes. And he's like, are you sure? And I said, yes, let's do it. And so I told him, start advertising 24 hours around the clock. And he said, no, are you crazy? You're not going to do that. You're not going to drive late at night. And I said, just do it. I said to him, just do it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it, but just put it out there because I wanted to get inquiries. If it's like available 24 hours when everything else is closed, then most likely if somebody comes in, a tourist comes in town and they want their nails done at, I don't know, 9 o'clock, 10 p.m., then I will be there and I will be available. So long story short, we came up with the name of the company and he set up the website and we started setting up all of these little things, business cards, just to get going. I ordered some supplies and I was just basically prepping myself to start offering the services. And so when the calls started coming in, I remember one of the first calls was like around 12 midnight. So I went. I was so happy I was like,
Wait, but isn't that dangerous though, to go to a stranger's house at midnight?
so when the person calls over the phone, you can kind of hear their need and why is it so important at that time to get their nails done or whatever. You just kind of feel it out over the phone. And
Okay.
my husband and I, we always knew where we were at all times. So I don't remember if 360 existed at that time, but I said to him, this is going to be the address where I'm going to go. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to text you, okay, if I'm good.
Have you ever taken boxing or self-defense classes?
No.
Oh boy. Did
I
you have
should.
a taser in your bag just in case?
No.
Nothing.
No, you know what I had? You know what I had, Melissa?
What?
I had faith in God.
Oh
I had
God.
a lot of faith in God. And I know
Well, it
you're
worked
laughing,
out.
but I'm a believer that God always protects me
Okay.
at all the time. Of course, I'm going to use my common sense, right? And if I don't feel like I'm safe, I'm not going to go in.
Okay.
So I'm always with God by my side. That's one of the things that I would always have to say and go back and say that I always put God first in
I've
everything
been
that I
meeting
do.
a lot of religious people lately, like a
You,
lot
you
of
know, it's
God
not
talk
really
lately.
religious because I don't really go to church a lot. It's just a communication that I was brought up from a little
Yeah.
child. Even if you don't go to church, if you're alone in whatever situation you go through, you pray and you talk to God. And
Okay.
so you tell him, what do you want? And you just believe that he's going to do the right thing for you. And one of the things that I always pray is for God to put the right people in my path.
Mm. And
And then
I love that as an affirmation, whether it's to God, the universe, whoever. I think that's a really awesome affirmation. And I think I'm going to start saying that.
And another thing that I changed in my language, instead of saying I hope that this will work,
Mhm.
is I started saying, because I learned it from one of my clients. She says, stop saying that you hope, start saying that you trust,
Okay.
that you trust things are going to work out. And so then I
Mhm.
started changing hope to trust. So I trust that things are going to be okay. I trust.
Mm.
My husband helped me out with the website, business cards, and everything. Then I got my first call, and it was actually a bouncer from a strip club that got his manicure and
Oh
pedicure.
my God, but that makes so much sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I went to him and I was like, oh my God, this guy looks like a big guy. Like if something happens to me, but
Oh
you
my
can kind of,
God.
yeah, I know.
I thought you said it was I completely passed over the bouncer part and just heard strip club. And I was thinking it was a stripper, which I was like, yes, that makes total sense that they would need it at weird hours. But then you said bouncer, and I realized, yes, huge person,
Yes.
man.
So, these people are always on their feet
Mm,
all night,
mm,
and that's their job. And that's what they
okay.
do 4 or 5 nights, whatever his schedule is. And so he needed a pedicure.
Oh,
And so I went and I did his pedicure. And I remember he was one of my first reviews
uh-huh.
in Las Vegas, and he loved it. And I went home happy, and he gave me a good tip, and I was really happy. And then every time my phone rang, I was like, I would still call myself like a firefighter. I'm always ready to go. My kid is ready. Like as soon as I get home from doing a service, I clean up everything, refill my little kit, and make sure that I am ready for the next call. That's how I took it. Every time my phone rang, and I would pray for my phone to ring. And I was like, oh my God, my phone doesn't ring as much. That's when the fear started coming in because it takes time to build a business. You want to service as many people as possible, but it does take time for people to get to know you and to call you. And that's why I was doing Uber. So I took the opportunity of doing Uber and Lyft because whenever I used to pick up people at the airport or at their home, depending on the right time, the length of the time from point A to point B, people like to have a conversation with you. Like, what else do you do? And so I will go in and talk about, oh, I'm also a mobile nail technician. And then I will tell them what makes me different than any other salon. So I will explain to them the benefits of using non-toxic products. Not only that, but I come to your home, more of a personable experience. So a lot of people have like allergies to fumes or they have disabilities, seniors with health situations
Yeah.
that cannot make it to the salon. Those are the people that started calling the most, and those are the people that really needed the most. People at rehabilitation centers, people at the hospital. You go in the hospital and you don't know when you're going to come out, and you go in with acrylics, you go in with gels or whatever.
Oh,
And
wow.
so those people are like, oh my God, this happened to me. It's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm in. I don't know when I'm going to leave, but I want to get my nails done.
I love
So,
that. These are
take
things, this to you yesterday that like, these are, I mean, I feel like an asshole for saying it, but like, we don't think about these kind of people that are in wheelchairs, people that can't physically get themselves to the nail salons, or people in the hospital, right? Like, it never occurred to me that somebody in the hospital might want to get their nails done. And I
right.
think that's such a beautiful service to offer to people, right? It, like, you are helping these people feel better about
You're
themselves.
making a difference in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
in a
And
way
that's
that,
what I
again,
love.
most of us don't consider.
Yes, that's what I love the most. That's one of the things that when I work with nail technicians that are part of my team, when I do
Mhm.
events and stuff like that, and when I interview them,
Mhm.
one of the key things that I look for in them is that they really love what they do.
Mhm.
They're passionate about what they do, because if you don't, it's just like another job. The clients can feel it. For me, that's important. I think it's very important for you to love what you do, because then you don't feel like it's a job, part of who you are.
Right.
And so when I do it, that's why I go the extra mile, because they're paying me.
Literally,
Everybody's winning.
literally, she drives the extra mile to your house.
I know, right? Everybody wins. The client gets to have an excellent experience. And in this industry, you're like a therapist at the same time, because not only you're providing manicure, pedicure, hair, whatever it is that
It's
they're hiring
companionship too,
for,
for a short
but
while.
they get to talk to you. They get
Yeah,
to talk to you. Sometimes these people are lonely or different situations.
yeah,
And so you get to feel like you are making a difference in a sense.
yeah.
And
And so that's one side of it. The other side is sometimes she gets to work with famous people, and that's very
yes.
exciting.
Yes, in this business, you can get called for a VIP
Yeah,
celebrity, and they don't necessarily tell you the name.
yeah.
But like I've done celebrities such as Drake,
Really? Was he nice?
very nice,
Okay.
very nice.
Okay.
Faith Evans,
Oh,
yes, Nikki Villas, like the twins.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then some other like high-end, just private executives, CEOs,
Yeah.
C-suite executives, people that like the service from the comfort of their home. They're looking for experience, they're looking for professionalism, they're looking for efficiency.
Yep.
So combined with excellent quality products, I mean, for them, it's a win. A lot of the times that I get hired to go to people like this, they love it, because I have the background experience of being a leader, being a manager, being an employee, being a consumer, a customer. I know what people want. So I try to think of it of how do I want to be treated if they were to be doing the service for me. And
Right.
so when I think about it that way, then I always provide the best service possible, because I treat people the way I want to be treated,
Yeah.
with the utmost respect, and then with the best foot forward. No one's perfect. I'm not saying that I'm the best manicurist. I'm not. But I do always try to put the best foot forward in everything that I do.
Yeah. No, and it shows. It shows 100%. One thing too I wanted to mention is that, Karen, you make your own products like scrubs and lotions and oils, and that's awesome. And I think you need to promote those more because
Definitely. I have been making my products since I
oh
started.
wow.
And with the thought of, if I'm going to say that I'm non-toxic, eco-friendly, I really have to make sure that the ingredients in my
Yep.
product align to that, right? When you go to the store and you find an organic product or something that is supposedly free of harmful chemicals, and you turn it around and you look at the label,
You
and
can't read
it's
it.
got like 50
Yeah.
ingredients in it. And
Yeah.
some ingredients that you can't even pronounce because of the shelf life of
Most
the
of them.
product,
And even if
and
it is
so,
something that is like good for you, they write it in a word, or they call it something that you can't
right,
pronounce and you have no idea what that is.
right. So I was having a hard time finding that product. And so then I started making my own sugar scrub.
Yeah.
So I know every ingredient that's in it. I haven't really changed it for 7 years since I started Nails Envie. And so what I did try to change was like the fragrance of it, the essential oils that I put on. And people were coming back to, no, I like your original scent, which is lavender lemongrass. My products, I know every ingredient, organic, non-toxic, essential, 100% pure essential oils. I know what's in it. And so my clients when I provide the services, I utilize the products, and then the clients can get the experience of feeling the products on their skin and how their skin feels afterwards and how much their nails and their pedicures last. And so they always come back telling me, you know what, it's a little bit more expensive with your services, but it's worth it because I can see you once a month, right? Every 3 to 4 weeks. Or if I go to any random nail salon, I'm going to pay a lot cheaper, but it's not going to last and it's not going to feel as good, long lasting.
It's the convenience and the quality.
It's definitely
right? Because
the quality.
You took a lot more time with me than the nail techs do at the nail salon I go to. And yeah, I pay a little less probably over there, but I'd rather, because I like to wait a month before I get it done again, right? So I want whatever I am paying for to last me a month. I'm thinking about the skin and like the bottoms of my feet. I want them to be nice and soft for as long as possible. But if they don't spend time, then I'm not going to get that. So yeah, I think it definitely is worth it.
Yeah. So it's so I focus on the attention to detail. And that's the reason why I was saying earlier that it's custom manicures and pedicures, because you can't treat everybody the same. Everybody has different lifestyles, right? Some athletics, some people that are dancers. It all depends on their ages, because I see from kids all the way to seniors. We do kids parties, birthday parties. We do bridal showers, teen parties, graduation, conventions, private, corporate. And obviously, when we have larger groups, I bring a team of nail technicians. Yeah,
actually, guys, Karen did the event with Coach Leslie. So I just posted Coach Leslie's podcast episodes, and Karen was at her latest, I don't know if it's her latest, but one of her most recent events. It was actually
a
wellness. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was talking about the natural nail care there. And so a lot of people got to learn a little bit about what to look for when you go to a nail salon.
I don't look for anything. I don't. I just like sit there and I'm just like, please hurry up, get me out of here.
Well, now you learn a little something, right?
Now I know.
Yeah, it's important. It's important to just know what we're putting in our bodies, because our skin is the largest organ, right? That we have. So when they moisturize, when they put the scrub and the fumes and the acetone and all these things, it's going through our skin. So it's just important to keep an eye on those things.
Absolutely.
So then I started doing corporate private events, birthday parties. Then I relocated just recently here to Miami. Nails Envie established in Vegas. So anybody that needs the service, we have our website and people can book through the website, nailsenvie.com. And now that I'm here in Miami, people can book through the website as well, through nailsenvie.com. We have a 1-800 number, 1-800-215-7875. That number is good. So for any specific questions that you might have before booking an appointment, I can answer any questions. As far as the times of booking, it's pretty flexible here in Miami. Very flexible, because now that I just relocated from Vegas to Miami with my family, it's not necessarily starting from scratch, but it's basically expanding.
You're planting seeds.
The brand. Yes. And so I'm available for anybody that's interested in booking a service here in Miami and all the surrounding areas. So I've gone so far the farthest I've been so far here is the Florida City.
I don't know where that is.
It's further down than Homestead.
Whoa, no, I haven't been down there.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half approximately. And so, but I'm not, maybe if it pays. You might want to cut this part.
Yeah, I mean, you might have to charge like a mileage fee over a certain amount, right? Because there comes a point where it's just not worth it. I had a friend who was a motorcycle repair person, and same thing. It was like after, I don't know, maybe 30 miles or something, he needed to charge an additional distance mileage.
Right.
Okay. 2 questions about Audacity. First, what is the most audacious thing or decision that you've ever done in your life?
The most audacious? Let me think. Well, I went on vacation by myself to the Bahamas.
Okay. Next time, invite me. Okay, but proceed.
Well, that was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
Or 2 years ago, something like that. I met, doing this business, I was hired by a gentleman in Vegas, staying at one of the hotels in Las Vegas. And so he was there pampering his family. So it was for him, his son, his daughter-in-law, and they just all wanted manicures and pedicures. And so this particular client was very talkative. Not everybody talks, right? He says, well, tell me about Nails Envie. What else do you do? And I said, well, I do corporate events, private events, birthday parties. We travel because we do. And he says, oh, so I have something coming up in my home in the Bahamas. Would you be interested in coming to provide services? And I said, of course. I said, yes. I'm in business to be out there, right? To provide the services. I was working with my sister at the time. And so he says to me, yeah, so would you be interested in traveling there and give me a price? And I was like, well, I'll give you a great price because I've never been to the Bahamas. So it will be like a win-win. Provide the services and at the same time, I'll give you a good deal. And so he says to me, you know what? Actually, I think most people, when they come to islands like that, they already have their manicures and pedicures. Uh-huh. So I don't think I might need it, but he says, I'll invite you and your husband and your sister and her husband. And so you guys can be my guests. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, yeah, well, let me talk to my husband. And
what's the catch here?
So yeah, let me tell you.
Oh God.
So I went home and I told my husband, you're not going to believe this. This client is saying that he's going to invite us to the Bahamas. He owns 2 islands. And so he's like, really?
2 islands.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So he says, I'm going to give you a few dates and you get to pick. So my sister couldn't go. She had kids in school at the time and a lot of responsibility. So that didn't work out. And then my husband couldn't go because he was working. He's like, I can't take off from work. So then I invited a client of mine. I asked a few single lady clients, if they could come, because he said, you can bring somebody else. If your husband can come, just invite any person. Okay. And so then I asked a few of my clients and they couldn't go. So then I said, I'm going to go. And everybody was like, are you crazy? You don't know this man? I said, well, I looked it up. I'm like, everything seems okay. And then he said, it's a group of 15 people. It's not me alone. Okay. And
yeah, so but they could have been a cult and you could have been the sacrifice. You never know.
Well, that's the most audacious, courageous things that I've done. So I ended up going. I ended up getting everything ready and I went and I had the best time of my life.
Oh my God, so that's amazing.
An island to yourself. It was a group of 15.
Yeah.
And so basically he was explaining to us, this is what he does. You know, he's retired and he just basically does it twice a year. He just brings family, like a whole family, and gives them the experience that he knows that you could probably never afford in a lifetime.
Wow.
And so he gives people that opportunity. Wow. And he says to me, like, I invite a lot of people that I know for being friends and, creating a friendship. But with you, he says, I met you once and you were like, okay, I'll go. And he says, you're the most courageous person that I've met so far in this group. And so I have pictures of videos and it was not like single and I can go by myself. It wasn't like that.
But so, do you still talk to any of the people that you met from that? Yeah.
Yes. We still
it was like a retreat, like an adult retreat. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
So it was the best time of my life. Why? Because I didn't have the kids to worry about. Are you eating? Are you having a good time? And going back to being a mom, you're always taking care of others, right? And your husband, are you enjoying? Do you like the food? You're making sure everybody's happy except for you. And you may not be happy, but you're content with the fact that everybody else is happy. Yeah. And so I didn't have that worry being there. And so I met with a lot of other, it was mostly business people.
And you're totally out of your comfort zone. So you're going to be more outgoing, probably. Well, maybe not for everybody, but with you, I'm just kind of imagining you in this scenario, right? Where there's all these strangers. What else can you do besides you start asking questions and getting to know people and connecting with people? And there's that thing about connecting with people, especially when they were strangers 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, that's really powerful. It's really exciting.
Yes. That's
one of the greatest things I think about being alive sometimes.
Yes. Just before we landed because I had to make a connection here from Vegas to Miami, and then Miami, we had to connect to another flight to the Bahamas.
Okay.
He messaged me and he said, there's going to be these people in the plane with you. These are their names and they look like this. And so you connect with them because they're also coming here for the first time. And so I was like, okay, so that was kind of fun. And then when I started meeting them and everything, it was like, we were all on the same page, on the same mindset. let's have fun and let's enjoy the opportunity, because the opportunities like this don't come often. I would say that's the most audacious things that I have done.
And it
I
turned out
enjoyed it
amazing.
every moment. I have tons of pictures. So I got to swim with the pigs. I got to swim with the sharks. No, for real.
Wow.
With the sharks, they gave us a tour of the whole island, and we got to see where one of the planes from Pablo Escobar, that it's there under the water. You can see it like a whole sightseeing. And so, yeah, we got to do a lot. This person went above and beyond. We had breakfast. We had a chef, a food, dinner, everything. It was incredible. A week. It was like a week of.
I want to research this person. Will you share with me either on here or privately who this was?
He likes to be private.
I want to be like, that is, if I were to think about, like, I did a podcast I don't remember when I posted it, maybe 2 podcasts ago, about your possibility ceiling and about how, like, we're striving for things, right? We're setting these goals for ourselves, but there's a cap, right? We cap ourselves off with our dreams. There's things above that we just don't think are possible for us, or we're just so focused on what's over here that, like, we don't even think about what's out here. And so the idea of being so wealthy or so financially stable and so successful that you don't have to worry about money at all, that you can invite near strangers to the 2 islands that you own. And I mean, I'm assuming that he paid for everything.
Yes.
Right. And to be able to give that to somebody, not only to just one person, but literally families, and to do this every year or however frequently he does, like, that's something that I would love to be able to do. And that was something, until this conversation, that was above my possibility ceiling. That wasn't something that I ever had even considered or thought about.
Right.
You know, so I want to know, like, how the heck did he get there?
And the offer came, it started with the conversation of the events. And then he said, it's not going to work out because most people come with manicures and pedicures, but you know what? I'll have you as my guest. He said it like it's something that he does on a regular basis. And I found out later on that that's what he does.
Yeah.
Like, the way that I took it is like, I've worked so hard in my life, right? From a child, being with the upbringing that I mentioned earlier, and with the best person that I try to be on a daily basis, being a mom, being a wife, being a hard worker, being a good friend. I felt like that was my reward. Yeah. And for me to have turned it away, at what moment is that going to come around again? And so when I came back with all these beautiful pictures and videos and stories and so many things, and I had the best time of my life, the people that said, "Are you crazy for going?" They were like, "When are you going next? And can I be invited?" And I said, "I don't know.
It may never happen again.
It may never happen.
Yeah.
It just may never happen again."
Wow.
And so I felt like it was just an unforgettable. My husband, I joke around with him, because we've been on vacations together and we've had an amazing time.
It's never as good.
But being, you know what I mean? Like, being just yourself and alone, and just
I love traveling.
Taking care of you. And it's like going to sleep at the time you want, waking up at the time you want.
I love traveling alone.
Taking care of you. I've never had that opportunity in my life.
Oh, wow.
Ever.
It's so empowering.
I've always been with somebody. And so the way that things worked out and the way they did, and I'm still in touch with this person, is an amazing person, because I've got to know him there and afterwards, because we kept in touch. It's just like, wow, why do you do this? And people were asking him, why do you do this? And he said, why not? My family is taken care of. If I pass away, if something happens, my will is done. Yeah. And he said, why shouldn't I make a difference to the people that may never have the possibility to experience something like this? So it makes you become more like him, like, be generous,
pay it forward.
Just changes your perspective in life.
Absolutely.
I was, from the bottom of my heart, I was very, and still I am very grateful for that opportunity. And that's what I try to be. When I meet people, I try to be of service without expecting anything in return. I try to just, like, if I can help you with something, I'm going to do it. And that's it. And the conversation.
That's who I want to spend more time around. Like, these days, I've been very or at least trying to be extremely intentional about who I'm spending my time around and who I'm trying to cultivate even more and deeper relationships with, are people like that, that are at least trying to work themselves up to a place where it's not about competition. It's not about what can you do for me. It's not about all of these kind of low vibe kind of things. It's more about how can we help each other? How can I show up for you? How can we connect? It's not all superficial, right?
Right, yeah. And that's one of the success of Nails Envie in a way, because when I started Nails Envie, I didn't tell you about a little bit about this story. I started connecting with small business in Las Vegas. I connected with a lady who used to be a partner of one of the vegan restaurants in Las Vegas. And I sent her an Instagram message introducing myself, telling her a little bit about me. And so we connected, and she loved everything that I did and I offered. And so she hired me to do the employees of the restaurant, like mini manicures or polish changes, like quick little services. And so they had 2 restaurants. And so they hired me to do both restaurants, the employees. So one of the cooks happened to have an incident where the boyfriend shot her 15 times in front of her kids.
I'm sorry.
And so yes. And so the lady that I was dealing with, which was part owner of these 2 restaurants, she said to me, there is one lady that's in the hospital. And so she's also an employee, but obviously she told me the situation. And then I said to her, yeah, she says, I would love for you to go and do her manicure.
I want to interview her.
And I said to her, not only would I go and do her manicure, but I'm not going to charge you. It's going to be for free. And so I ended up going there. So she lost her leg. And yeah, she lost a leg, and one of her arms, she couldn't stretch it all the way. So it was like kind of halfway. So I met with her and I introduced myself, and I told her, Kelly, who was her boss at the time, sent me here to do your manicure. And so I started doing her manicures. I ended up doing her manicures for like about 6 or 7 months at no cost. And after she got discharged and went home, I went and I did I did her kids, and I met her family. And I basically stopped once I saw that she was pretty much getting the help that she needed. I think the government gave her a home and things were working out for her. But one of the things that I've always been focused on is on how can I be of service to the people in need. And so I focused on that. There was another situation where I was actually giving away a year worth of free services in Las Vegas to somebody that had gone through a rough life situation in 2019. I connected with a lady who's in PR, and so she connected me with some of the TV channel there. And so in December of 2019, I was in a segment, or 2018, I believe, in a segment, and I announced it. I'm going to be giving away a year worth of free services to anybody that has gone through a rough life situation. And so please send us your stories and send us your email, our company contact information. And so I started getting stories and emails, please choose this person because this person has gone through certain things. And so the most compelling one was a lady and a husband that lost their house in a fire in California. Have you ever heard of that? Like the Paradise? Paradise is a town called Paradise in California. The whole town was destroyed by the fire. And so he was saying, we lost our home, we lost everything. And now we're staying in Las Vegas. My wife is going through some health conditions and myself as well. So please choose my wife. So I ended up choosing her. And so long story short, I ended up doing like 2 or 3 months because she wasn't really comfortable. It was a surprise. And so he surprised her with that. And we went and I did the service. Later on, I found out that she passed away of cancer. Situations like that is where I feel like I can make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. Just
and so
that 1 hour and a half of their day, right?
Yes.
Day a
so
month.
I really love that, being of service to people that are in need like that. And so, yeah.
I feel like that's an easy thing to get lost because there's so much minutia, and like when you're building a business, right? There's so many things that you have to be thinking about on a regular basis: marketing, money, paying your employees, hiring employees, whatever, all of the things that you have to be thinking about, that sometimes those values, right, can get blurred or lost a little bit. And so I love that that's still something that at the top of mind for you.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I always I will never forget where I come from, right? So if I have the opportunity because of people, right? Because without clients, I wouldn't have a business. So if I have the opportunity to continue to run my business, how do I give back?
Right.
How do I give back to the community? And that's a way of being grateful, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about you. It's not just about selling and just getting clients. And it's also about what can you do to make a difference out there. That's my mindset in everything that I do, is what I can do to help. And I will always, if it's under my control, I try to do it.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. I love that. It's something for everybody to think about. For me, I'm still kind of navigating this a bit, but I am starting this nonprofit project where I am raising money to help women and girls who are just in difficult situations. It could be something to do with abortion laws right now or getting healthcare. It could be girls and women in other countries who are living in a place where they just don't have basic rights and freedoms and they need something, and this money would help them in some kind of a way. So I'm still kind of working out the details and the tweaks here, but that's the thing that I want to create for exactly the reasons that you've been saying, right? You have to give back. If you're somebody who has an opportunity to have a business, if you're somebody who has an opportunity to be creating the life that you want and the life that you love and living as conveniently as we do here, how can you help the people that don't have those opportunities?
Right.
So that's really lovely. Okay. Last question for you. What is the most audacious goal that you have for yourself right now?
I will say expanding Nails Envie to different states. So like I've mentioned, I've had events in New York, and I have the services available in New York. Las Vegas also, that's like where we started. We've done events in San Francisco, LA, Arizona, because we've traveled with the Super Bowl. Wherever the Super Bowl is, we travel. We've been with them ever since 2020. And so now I'm expanding in Miami. One of my goals is to be able to expand in as many states as possible, even if it takes a little longer time, but that's kind of one of my goals.
Yeah. And I think that's audacious. And I love that goal. And I had a thought earlier that was, what is stopping you from being in every state in the US?
Well, it's basically finding the right person, the right nail technician that will be handling the clients in those states.
Gotcha.
Focusing on the same non-toxic, eco-friendly, vegan-friendly products.
Have you thought about
with excellent customer service and just kind of everything that aligns with our brand?
Have you thought about franchising?
Yes, I've thought about franchising. And so that could be a potential. I have to do a little bit of more homework in that.
Okay.
Yes.
Who do I know? Oh, actually, this person you know what? I should invite her to my dinner. Ooh, that's a great idea, Melissa. Good job. I did a podcast with her. She has a business in Miami called the Real Food Academy. And I think you guys would get along so well because you have the same values around food and eating well and diet and things like that. But she is working on franchising her business, the Real Food Academy. And so, I think maybe that could be an interesting conversation between you two.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay, good. I'm going to connect that and I'm going to invite her to dinner. The last thing, just tell people how they can get in touch with you. You already mentioned it a little bit earlier, but just to kind of close out, how can they reach you?
Okay. So the way to reach Nails Envie is by going to our website, www.nailsenvie.com, or 800-215-7875. They can contact us with any inquiries or send us an email at nailsenvie@gmail.com.
Great. And I will also put those links in the show notes so you guys can find them. And just for your reference, the word envy is spelled ENVIE.
Correct.
So you don't get confused.
So we have an Instagram account where they can see some of our work. And so, that's our portfolio.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you so much for all your time today.
All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Melissa.
No
take
problem.
Care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of the Audacious Founder Podcast, Being Bold in Business. If this sparked something in you, if it made you think bigger, dream louder, or take one bold step forward, then don't let it stop here. The real transformation, that happens off the feed. Head to the show notes and drop your name on our email list because our community gets the unfiltered tools, strategies, and stories that I don't share anywhere else. Audacious moves only. I'll see you in your inbox.